Hello and welcome to Lago Granja on Pioneer Map. This is episode 31. This is a fairly short episode. It's a fairly routine episode until the end. We do quite a few chores. We actually get a lot done, but it's pretty routine stuff, so I've just kind of shown them in jump cuts so that you can see what's happened, but don't have to actually spend all the time watching me driving up and down doing the various tasks. We spend a bit of time with McKenzie, which we haven't shown for quite a while, and at the end of the video the most exciting thing is that we name all our fields. So please stay until the end and find out what each field name is. Right, we started off by just replenishing all the water in the reservoirs for the allotments, and then I went out and decided to cut some grass in the fields around the sort of settlement area. We've got far too much grass at the moment, so I've decided to make this area around, sort of bordering the settlement area, into a new field. It'll be a L-shaped, right-hand shaped type field. I'm going to make it so that it's easy for a worker to work on, simply because we get into the stage now where we're going to have to use more of the local population to actually do the physical work for us, as we manage the overall business as such, the growth and development. So we've just finished cutting up all that grass, and as you can see it's just basically skirting, making a right angled shape around the settlement area. Still loving this map and the way it's developing. The only thing is that it does involve a lot of routine, which, as we're getting on for pretty much 100 hours now of playing this game, you've seen quite a few times. Just looking after the cattle, thought I'd just take a little drive into the cattle just to show you the autumn colours and how fantastic it looks driving through them. I'm so glad I've left this rugged. I like the feel of driving on these uneven roads, driving down into the sort of tree lines, along the little tree hedge rows that we've made, and then into this sort of cow pasture. I really like the feel of everything in this. I need to look, I've put up a manure pit there, but we're not getting any manure, so let's make a note of that. We've got to look and see what's happening there. Should be close enough. I'll have to check to see if there's still straw. Maybe there's no straw. I haven't been paying much attention to that. Right, so we just made that mixture of TMR ready for this evening's feed, and now we'll have to clear. We've got about 16,000 litres of milk, so we'll need to clear at least one load, and I think tomorrow there might be, or the next month there might be enough to do 2 loads into the creamery. So the milk is starting to accumulate in the creamery as well. So the next operation, or the only operation that we're not doing in the creamery, is chocolate. So, but we also need to have a sugarcane field. So I think once we'll have to find a field, maybe one of the small fields, and put sugarcane in there and build a sugarcane factory as well to supply sugar to make the chocolate. So that's another project. The first thing we've got to do is develop the tailor. So we haven't seen a lot of McKenzie of late, so I thought I'll just come and feed him. Just wait for him to come in and rush in from where he is to have his feed. We have been feeding him every day, but I've just been doing it off camera. No, Mr. Sheep, it's not for you, that food. The sheep will try and eat anything. So we're up to 50 sheep now. So the flock is growing quite nicely. And there's McKenzie having a scoff. Let's give him a little bit of a pat and he'll have a bit of a roll around and just... Yeah, we haven't seen a lot of him. He's still doing his job. Sterling stuff. Well done, boy. Well done. Keep it up. Right, so we need to invest in a windrower. So that's the only piece of equipment that we haven't got for grass work. So we'll purchase that. And yeah, we are just picking it up from the store. We'll take it back up to the field and get that grass field all windrowed. Well, we'll leave them to do that, and we'll catch up with them when they're finished. Right, we'll get that sorted out, and then we'll collect all that and put it into the silo to make silage. We've also had to weed all the, well, not all of them, but most of the fields. So we spread some herbicide. There weren't an awful lot. It looks like a lot, but it didn't use a lot of herbicide at all. And we spent a lot of time doing that. Pretty much a routine job. Will have to be done every time after fields. Then we got the old plough out and we created the field. I've just done this on a bit of a time lapse just to give you the shape of the field so you can see what it looks like. So we've done it at sort of 180-90 degrees so that it's easy for the workers to work at. They don't have to do a lot of thinking. It does give us a little bit of extra space, but we probably will need a bit more space for the settlement. And all those little nooks and crannies will eventually get filled up with something or other, or maybe just make little woods or beautify the area. We do need to plant some more trees from the ones that we've cut down, so we'll sort that all out as we go along. Yeah, so that's basically that field, sort of an L field. Right, now we get to the naming of these fields. So this field, which we've now combined, which was the first two fields that we did, that's going to be known as home base. So that is home base. And as we drive past what will be known as allotment 1, then we come to this field here, which is the field that, if you remember, we did very early on in the series, where I tried to do it without actually ploughing. I just cultivated because it was a field already of grass, and it didn't really work out that well, so we eventually ended up ploughing. But we'll call that freestyle field. So that's the field that runs from the allotment pretty much up to the cattle area, or the sheep area. Not the sheep area, the cow area. As in, come down to the bottom, drive past the cows, come to the next big field that we made, and that will be called hilly field, simply because it's got quite a few ups and downs. As we swing around here, you'll pretty much see them. So it's very sort of really up and down field. So that field there is known as hilly field. I know possibly not the most original names, but they've got to be ones that you can remember just off the top, and I like them to be fairly descriptive. Right, we come back into the settlement area. I suppose we'll need to think of a name for this area, and I think we'll call it Middletown. And that's just driving past allotments 2 and come past the bottom area of what is the new field, which is going to be called L field. So just L field for the slightly L shaped, and we drive into what is going to be known as grasslands. Grasslands, I suspect, is going to be divided up into smaller, maybe 1-2 smaller fields, simply because I think we've still got too much grass, but I haven't made a decision on that there. And then going down the right hand side here, we've got the other leg of L field, and then we come into the last field, which I think was probably one of the early fields that we created as well, and that's simply called small field. So I think this is the field that I'm probably going to put the sugarcane into. Sugarcane is pretty difficult to, well, it's not difficult to harvest, it's just expensive to harvest because of the machinery, so we'll have to lease that machinery. And I think L field we'll put into cotton as soon as we can plant cotton. And that's pretty much it. And we'll call it a day for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. In the next episode we build the clothing factory, and we'll see you then.